Hey everybody, Jimmy Smith. This time giving my reactions to Ariel Helwani's comments today on social media and obviously his show about what the possibilities are for UFC 300's main event. Now, a couple background things before we get there. It is currently, as I'm recording this, February 13th. We're 8 weeks out. Now, for those of you who listen to my SiriusXM show, Zach, one of my producers, asked, he said, doesn't the fighter who's in the main event have to know now? Yes. The typical camp for a professional fighting at the elite level, especially main event UFC 300, is 8 to 12 weeks. Anything more than 12, you start running into injury problems, right? Your body's not supposed to be redlining for more than 3 months at a time. You start getting injured if your camp's longer than 3 months. Shorter than 2 months, you aren't as prepared as you should be. So now is D-Day. We're looking at 8 weeks out. Now, could you tell the fighter and not announce it? Sure, meaning they know on the sly, we'll announce it in a few weeks. The idea that you keep something like that secret when fighters don't train by themselves. They need sparring partners, they need coaches, they need all kinds of things. Things get around. Dana knows this, I know this, anybody in MMA knows this. To tell the fighter themselves, and obviously there are two of them, to keep that secret while you announce it is tough. So Dana knows, as soon as I tell the fighters, a public announcement has to be hours, preferably, no more than a couple days. It's just not going to stay secret. The world doesn't work that way. So this is D-Day. We're 8 weeks out. A fighter needs to know. Fighters need to know. Therefore, the public needs to know. Also, tickets go on sale soon. So they need a main event. Now, also, UFC 300. Now, I'm a fight dork. This is my world. This is my job. This is my life. I like a stacked card full of compelling fights, and that's what UFC 300 has right now. They have all the way down to the frickin' prelims. All of these, and I do mean all, could be either fight night main events or pay-per-view co-main events. Every single fight on here. Bobby Green, Jim Miller, Jessica Andrade, Marina Rodriguez, Sodiq Yusuf, Diego Lopez, Holly Holm, Kayla Harrison, Davison Figueiredo, Cody Garbrandt, Bo Nickel, Cody Brundage, Calvin Kattar, Aljamain Sterling, Yuri Prochazka versus Alexander Rakic, Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan, Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway, Zhang Weili, Yan Xiaonan. Any of these could be at least co-main event of pay-per-view and a standalone main event of Fight Night. They're all excellent. So to me, that's more important. The main event is the icing on the cake. Well, cakes are mostly cake. So the idea that you need some kind of crazy main event, I don't see that. I'm down with pretty much any main event when the card's this good. Also, Dana, I think, kind of cornered himself just a little bit. What I mean by that is it's almost like you haven't gotten your girlfriend or significant other a Valentine's Day gift. And you're going, boy, you're going to love it, honey. It's going to be great, as you scramble to find something. The more you talk it up, the more she's going to expect a Mercedes-Benz in her driveway with a bow on top. I believe Dana had some fights in mind that would have been crazy and amazing and, oh my God, I'll blow your mind. And they either fell through or something happened. Couldn't put it together. I believe he believed he was going to make it happen before UFC 300. Now you're kind of scrambling for, okay, what can we realistically actually make? I've been talking for years and months about the UFC's star problem. The roster is as talented as it has ever been. They're making plenty of money and all this stuff. The bankable Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor, Brock Lesnar, circle it on your calendar type fighter, they haven't had that in a while. And what I mean that is a crossover celebrity Wheaties box. The way I would know when I lived in LA, and the reason I lived in LA, I just did more things in LA than I do in Florida. When I would go out to my coffee spot, right, my tea spot, and the guy or gal behind the counter would ask me about a fight. Everybody knows I'm in the fight world. Would ask me about a fight. I go, man, this fight's big. This person generally doesn't ask me. When I would go do stuff, I look like a fighter. So people would ask me, hey, you're in the fight world? Yeah. What do you think of this weekend? And I'd go, all right, it's a big fight. The guy at 7-Eleven who doesn't normally watch fighting would ask me about what I thought about a fight coming up. Crossover big. I normally don't watch, but I'm watching Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor, Brock Lesnar, whatever. The UFC hasn't had that bankable crossover star in quite a while. Is Jon Jones in that category? I would say no. I mean, his pay-per-views are doing well, more than likely. But the idea that your average person who doesn't watch will switch over and watch because of Jon Jones, he's obviously the greatest fighter of all time, in my opinion. But the idea that he's a crossover celebrity, I don't really know. I think that past, when he had some poor personal choices that kept him out of that Nike, personal sponsorships that are huge, being on commercials, everybody's watching. He's not that guy. Great fighter, best in the world. Is he crossover huge? No. Sugar Sean O'Malley, is he crossover big where people who don't really follow the sport know who Sugar Sean is? Maybe. We don't really know. The problem is a lot of the fighters right now on the roster for the UFC, and obviously not that Sugar Sean's an option, but a lot of the fighters that we are looking at haven't had to carry a pay-per-view all on their own. So we just don't know if they're standalone crossover big. There. It's been a problem. So, on to what Ariel Helwani has said about this. And Ariel, in my experience, he doesn't just say things for clickbait. He generally has his sources. Has he been wrong? Sure. But he's not going to say something that he doesn't have some idea, some sources inside telling him something. So what he has said, I think the top choice is Leon Edwards versus Khamzat Chimaev. This could all fizzle out, but I think we'll find out in the next few days. But I think the top choice, that's the top choice at the moment. I also believe the other 3 fights are in play as well, which is Leon Edwards, Belal Muhammad, Israel Adesanya versus Dricus Du Plessis, and Khamzat versus Dricus Du Plessis. So let me break down all of these. So, Leon Edwards, Khamzat Chimaev, that apparently is the front runner, which is a little weird to me. Crazy. I'm going to have a crazy main event for you. That qualifies as crazy. It's a little out of left field. Khamzat Chimaev is just an out of left field kind of guy in that he didn't work his way up like everybody else. Not that he didn't try. A lot of fights fell out. He's bouncing between weight classes. Last time he tried to make 170 pounds, he missed by 7.5 pounds. We'll discuss that in a second. When he's been out there, he's looked pretty dominant. Problem as a fight dork with Khamzat is I'm not seeing the improvements necessary to win a tough, long, difficult, grueling 5-round fight. He has a problem of going after somebody quickly, building a lead, and then fading late. That's what happened against Kamaru Usman at a great first round, and then against a professional who's not going to mentally fall apart, he was able to stay in the fight, and Khamzat started fading. That's a really bad sign if you want to beat champions who are tricky and versatile and aren't going to mentally fall apart after one bad round. So it's crazy, and that's kind of out of left field. Like, wow, Khamzat Chimaev taking on Leon Edwards. It would screw Belal Muhammad, again, who is one of those guys along with Beneil Dariush who just puts in work and wins and wins and wins and wins and, can't get a title shot. So it would bother maybe some hardcore fans. We'll still watch. Let's be honest about it. But there would be Belal getting screwed again for Khamzat, who's right now ranked, I believe, 9th at 185 pounds, not ranked at all at 170, coming off a win at 185 against 170 pounder. There'd be a lot of reasons why it wouldn't be considered a deserved title fight, but it would be entertaining and out of left field and kind of crazy. Leon Edwards is not once again, a crossover celebrity people really love. He's big in the UK. He'll put asses in seats in the UK. He's an excellent champion, but he tends to win by decision. That tends to be how he gets it done. We saw it against Colby Covington. We saw it in the last Kamaru Usman fight. We saw it in the previous Kamaru Usman fight. He got the miracle head kick knockout very late in the fight. He doesn't tend to finish guys. So there's no crossover celebrity in either one of them. It would be out of left field, and a lot of people would go, he's not even ranked at 170, he's getting a title shot. But it would have that Eastern European Ivan Drago destroyer versus Leon Edwards, who has looked very, very good as a champion at 170. It checks off certain boxes, but it would come with certain controversies. There. X's and O's wise, I'll do a deep dive, obviously, if the fight got announced. But right now, I would say it's about the consistency of Leon Edwards versus the explosiveness and finishing ability of Khamzat Chimaev. If Leon Edwards gets out of the first 2 rounds, it's probably his fight. That's the problem, is if Khamzat doesn't finish you in the first couple rounds, the idea he has to go 3 more with a guy who's very, very technical, very sharp, excellent footwork. It's not going to be easy. Also, doesn't give up takedowns easily. We saw that in the Colby Covington fight. So it checks off certain boxes, but it would come with certain controversies. The next one. 3 fights in play. Leon versus Belal. Leon Edwards, Belal Muhammad. I'm not going to go over Leon again. We just went over it. This is what the box it checks off is. It's the easiest to make. You have the 170-pound champion versus the most deserving contender. Boom. Both guys, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be physically ready to go. It's easy. It's just you can plug it right in. I kind of thought this would be the main event a little while ago. I was saying, this would be just easiest to make right now. There is the crossover celebrity problem. Even more than that, Belal Muhammad is just the blue-collar workman of this division. He doesn't make people go, oh, my God, Belal Muhammad. He beats everybody, but it's by numbers. Take you down, grind you out. He's become a better finisher, I guess, recently, knocking out Sean Brady. Great stuff. But it's this idea that not a lot of people consider Belal Muhammad must-see TV. I love him. I think he's fantastic. Leon Edwards, a similar thing, a workman-like champion who generally gets it done by decision. These two guys fighting one another, I think is solid. It's ready to go. It is super easy. Both guys are absolute professionals. They're going to make weight and be ready. Oh, another thing about Khamzat Chimaev getting a title shot at 170. The guy, I don't know if he can make 170. Are you going to really have a main event at UFC 300 where he has to make championship weight, which he has never made? And the last time he tried to make 170, he missed by 7.5 pounds. You're rolling the dice big time as Dana White and the UFC going, can this guy make championship weight? There, touching on that. Both guys in Belal and Leon are going to make weight. They're going to show up on time. They're going to be ready to go, and you're going to get a very good main event. It won't be circle your calendar, oh my God, I can't believe it. Once again, I don't think that's totally necessary, considering how good UFC 300 is, but a lot of fans will go, this wasn't the main event I wanted. But it checks off the box of being easy, ready to go, dependable, you know what's going to happen. The next one, which I would say would be my front runner, is Izzy versus Dricus Du Plessis. Why? When you talk about crossover celebrity, the biggest stars currently in the UFC, and I know he's took a little time off, but he's still in the UFC, is Izzy. Who's the biggest star right now? When he gets in the octagon, people pay attention. Jon Jones and Izzy. Right? I put Sugar Sean probably third. But I would definitely say that Izzy is the most bankable star right now on the UFC's roster alongside Jon Jones. Him coming back against Dricus Du Plessis, they were supposed to fight before. Chael Sonnen did a piece about this fight. What's crazy? No, that's not crazy. Oh my God, that'll knock your socks off. You can't believe it. We all expected these guys to fight. It's just a matter of when. So DDP, the current champion, defeated Sean Strickland his last time out. It's a quick turnaround, especially after a 5-round fight. And it's hard to even describe to people. A 5-rounder that goes pretty well, you need some time. This was a war that was back and forth. DDP barely won. He took a beating in that fight. A lot of people thought Sean Strickland won, but my point is, physically, it takes a minute to come back from that. It takes several minutes to come back from that. It takes several weeks to come back from that. So the idea of him jumping into camp right now, once again, I'm recording this February 13th, him jumping right back into camp and getting ready for a fight after the beating he had to take, that's not easy. The beating he took a month ago, that's not easy. So there is the turnaround problem. There's the time off for Izzy. I think time off in that case was a good thing. One thing I don't like is somebody losing or getting beaten or especially knocked out and just, I want to get that taste out of my mouth. I'm running right back in there. Izzy took time off of a disappointing, serious upset loss and is hopefully going to come back mentally stronger than he did. I think that's huge. So that's what we're looking at right now is DDP Izzy. It has that crossover element to it. It is the champion versus a very deserving contender. All of those things work. Only problem is the turnaround for DDP. I think he'll do it for enough money. I don't think he's going to be thrilled, but it is what it is. Now, Khamzat versus DDP. The last one that was mentioned by Ariel Helwani. That would be... It makes more sense weight-wise because the big risk on Khamzat is, him getting into the country. Apparently, according to Ariel, he's having trouble with visa issues. He's Chechnyan. I don't know what's in his background that it's been such an issue. I'm not quite sure. But the idea that they're having trouble getting him into the U.S., first off. Secondly, the weight issue at 170. One big problem with him fighting Leon Edwards for the title at 170 pounds, he's got to make championship weight. Last time he tried, he missed it. He can make 185 easily on 8 weeks' notice. He'll be all right. He is currently ranked 9th in the division. So once again, you're going to have those. Who is he beating that he deserves a title shot at 185 pounds? He's coming off a short notice for Kamaru Usman win at 185. Kamaru Usman's not a 185-pounder. Now, it's not his fault. It's supposed to fight Paulo Costa and it went out. It's not his problem. But this idea that, all right, you beat Kevin Holland, you beat Kamaru Usman, you're getting a title shot at 185 pounds. So there would be that issue. Number two, you're skipping Izzy. I think Izzy's a much more marketable guy at 185. I think crossover celebrity of, the guy at 7'11" is much more interested in Israel Adesanya than he is in Khamzat Chimaev. So it checks off the crazy box a little bit. I'll give you guys a crazy main event. You won't believe it. I mean, it's out of left field. I think anything with Khamzat is kind of out of left field. But over Izzy? If you have a Wheaties box guy right now in 2024, it's Jon Jones and it's Izzy. So why wouldn't you take Izzy over DDP? There's the storyline. They've gone back and forth about the whole who's African debate, of course. So to throw Khamzat Chimaev in there, I don't think the fans. I mean, I'd watch it, but I don't think the fans are as into that as they would be into Israel Adesanya. So of the four, the one to me that makes most sense, that checks off enough boxes, I would say Izzy DDP. You have the crossover celebrity. It is a deserving shot, right? The former champion getting his rematch. That makes sense. DDP has a storyline with Izzy, right? They've gone back and forth before. We were already supposed to see that fight happen and end up getting delayed, right? So there's a little more tension there. And 8 weeks out, I think both guys can get ready to go. Am I a little worried about DDP coming back so quickly after such a grueling fight? Yeah, but I've seen worse. So to go over it again, I think Leon versus Khamzat, you're going to have the issue of, does Khamzat deserve a title shot? Izzy, we believe, deserves a title shot. He's a former champion bouncing back after a loss. Does Khamzat Chimaev deserve a title shot at 170 where he's not even ranked? Can he make 170 pounds? Is Leon Edwards, who's big in the UK but not in the US necessarily, versus Khamzat going to get a lot of people excited? I don't think it checks off a lot of boxes. DDP versus Khamzat, similar issues all the way around. Does Khamzat Chimaev deserve a title shot at 185? Can Khamzat get into the country? Are fans really, really thrilled about him skipping over Izzy? So I think there are a lot of issues with that fight as well. And Belal Muhammad, Leon Edwards, folks, I love Belal. I think that's be a great fight. It's plug and play. It's ready to go. There are no big issues with it. It doesn't have that circle your calendar appeal as a main event of 300. Once again, the fight dork in me is okay with a stacked card that has an okay main event. But I think the one that checks off the most boxes is Izzy, Israel Adesanya versus DDP. In the comments section, let me know what you think. Appreciate you.